How's it going, guys? Today we're going to be talking about augmented reality, or AR, and one, can you use Blender for AR, and two, what can you do with your models to be compatible with AR usability. So what are we going to do today? I'm going to break down a couple key components of what you need to do when you're modeling, making your scenes. Number two, I'm going to show you texturing, how I texture, how I do that here. And number three, we are going to be using OVR as our augmented reality platform to kind of show you the model and have a lot of fun. Today's video is brought to you by OVR, and I'll tell you all about that in just a little bit. So let's get straight into what you need to do. So first off, can you use Blender for AR? Yes, you absolutely can. Blender is a 3D application. Any 3D application pretty much you can use with AR functionality as long as they have the right output settings. And what are those output settings? Well, with AR, you are pretty much always going to come across GLTF. Now, GLTF, Blender does have a GLTF exporter. And what that allows is you get to keep your textures and you get to keep animations. It allows you, it has all that data that when you put it into whatever platform you're using for AR, today we're using OVR, it can read that, your textures, your animation, and put that for your mobile or web application. Now, there is a format called USDZ, and that is for Apple. You will likely not come across that very often. A lot of 3D artists are PC users, so you're not really going to come across that. That's more in-depth stuff. We're not going to get into USDZ, but that's out there in case you see it. Now, file size. If you are using a social platform for your AR, you're going to want to be using 4 megabytes on your size. Kind of stay around 4 megabytes. And that would be something like Snapchat filters, Instagram, that kind of stuff. Even if you have an iPhone, sometimes you can have these like faces that can pop up, all that fun stuff. You can really get around using even less than 4 megabytes, 4 megabytes being kind of the max for social platforms. Now, if you're using a web platform for your AR, 10 megabytes is going to be, you can kind of dance around that. You can even get away with 20, but that's max. That's like last resort. But stay around 10 or below. The smaller, the better performing, and that's what you're going to want. Now, what contributes to your file size? One, that would be things like density of your mesh and the resolution of your images. And yes, you're going to need to use image textures. For those of you, especially like me, love procedural textures. Unfortunately, they're not going to read your procedural textures. It can read just like a principled BSDF with like the roughness slider up and the metallic slider, but that's as far as it goes. If you're doing noise textures plugged into roughness and all that fun stuff, it's not going to read it. Also, in Blender specifically, you're going to want to have all your modifiers applied. You can actually do that with the GLTF exporter. It applies them for you. But again, GLTF is not going to be reading your Blender specific settings. It reads animation, it reads textures. Also, it will be your animation length. The longer the animation, the more your file size is going to be. I'm keeping mine at about 120 because they're all just looping of the AR stuff I've done. So if you keep it looping, keep it nice, you can really get away with very low file sizes. Now, we're here in Blender and we're going to just recreate this guy here, and then we're going to jump into OVR, which is super exciting, and we're going to tell you all about OVR and how to use it with your models. So first thing I'm going to do, we are going to be using image texturing, so I'm going to use the UV sphere here, and I'm going to hit tab for edit mode, U to unwrap, and we're going to do sphere projection. And that's all you need to do. And then now I'm just going to go ahead and right click, subdivide, make it round, and click that twice. Shade smooth, we're done. I'm going to go ahead now and head on over into the shading tab. I got my textures from cc0textures.com. They're absolutely free, royalty free, and I got the 2K resolution texture. So if you have Node Wrangler add-on, just hit Control T. You have this whole setup using the UV. I'm going to open this up, and then I'm going to go here to my textures folder, and I want the painted metal, and we'll get the color. Plug it right there, and then you can go here and scale it up if you want to. Just have some fun there and move this up. I'm going to hit Shift D, and we're going to go ahead and get the metalness. So I'm going to click this file here, and we're going to find one that's called metalness right here. Metalness, click that, And instead of sRGB, we're going to use non-color for these black and white images because they read better here for things like metalness, roughness, and all that fun stuff. So speaking of roughness, we're going to get another piece here, plug that there, grab that, and we're going to get here our roughness right there using a non-color. Use the color here and plug it into the roughness. Now we have some roughness fun going on. You can see the rust is very, very flat, and that's what we want. Lastly, we're going to go ahead, Shift D, get one more, and we're going to go ahead and get a bump node here. We're going to get our bump node, plug the color into the height, grab this right here, get the normal, and plug the normal into the normal. We're going to get some craziness and just bring that strength down till it's kind of a realistic amount of bump, and now we're done here. Let's go back here, and I'm going to have some fun with modeling. So I'm going to go ahead and get an icosphere and bring the subdivisions down to 1 because I really like this shape. I'm going to hit I twice so that we can inset it. So we can do something like this, and then I'm going to go ahead and delete the faces. I'm going to add a solidify. We're going to now remember, we're keeping this very low poly. Now this here is not low poly, and I'll show you how to fix that later. So now we have this guy here. I want to go ahead and add a bevel. Right now I'm not worrying about low poly. Now if you're modeling something like a character, you would want to start worrying about low poly. But for me, I'm intentionally not to show you guys a fix for that later. So I'm going to bring up those segments, shade smooth. Now we have this. The bevel can come down a little bit so it kind of looks a little bit better, something like that. Now we have that. We're going to go back here to shading, and then I'm going to go down here and click that same material. And then one thing I need to do, like I mentioned, is apply modifiers. So I'm going to hit Control A, have these modifiers. I'm going to hit U. One really cool thing Blender has is if you hit U for unwrap, Smart UV Project, click OK. It actually does a pretty good job. And this is just quick and dirty texturing. It's not entirely super professional, but if you're trying to get something out really quick, trying to get an idea quick and dirty, Smart UV Project really did a good work here. Now you can see it's not that good there. It's not really that good here, but if you get a texture like this one I'm going to use next, it's really hard to see. All right, so now I have this metal texture here. Last thing I'm going to do is just quickly add some rings around here. Then we're going to go ahead and put this into some augmented reality. All right, so I have these rings. Now these are curves, so I'm going to go ahead, right click, convert to mesh. Now I have this. And then what I want to do here is go and just add this material to these guys. So I'm going to go ahead, highlight these, hold down Shift, click that, Control L, materials. They all have that material. I do want to go ahead, Control A, and apply scale. So these are stretched out, but I wanted to make this really quick and dirty just to show you guys a couple cool things. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to position them as randomly as I possibly can to get this really just strange look of the design. All right, cool. So now we're done. One thing to notice, very dense, very dense, very dense on the mesh here. And of course, very dense here. What we can do is we can highlight everything, hit Tab, hit A to make sure everything's selected. What you can do is hit X, click Limited Dissolve. Now notice what the topology looks like now. When I click Limited Dissolve, boom. We got rid of a lot of unnecessary geometry. Now there's a way to remesh things much easier, even with the remesh modifier. I'm not going to get into those things, but again, I'm showing you really quick and dirty methods because with AR, you can really get away with quick and dirty techniques. So now we have this here. You can see these little problems here, but they're not quite so noticeable on smaller detailed objects. So I'd really fix those problems on these big ones. So now that we have this, let's go ahead and go to the exporter. I'm going to go to File, Export, and right over here, you're going to see GLTF 2.0. That's what you want to use. Click that. For OVR, we're going to be using GLB, but all of these capture animation and texture data. So click that there. You can go here and do only selected objects, visible objects, custom properties, all that fun stuff. You can even use lights, all that works here for transforms. Even where your geometry, you can say, I want to use my UVs. If you have modifiers applied to things, you can click Apply Modifiers. I already did that myself. Vertex colors, tangents, loose parts, all that stuff. Here in the animation, you can even pick your animations here. Now that did remind me, I forgot to animate. So I'm going to go down here, 120 frames, which could be about 5 seconds for me. So that'll be pretty small. And I'm going to go ahead and then right here, I'm going to use this axis, that axis. I'm just going to do this really quickly. 360 and then negative 720. That'll give me a perfect rotation. And it's Bezier, but that's okay. So let's go here back to export and GLTF 2.0. GLB. Everything worked good default. We're going to call this tutorial and export it really quickly, and we're done. Now we're going to be using OVR. Now, OVR is so much more than just a AR platform. There's so much more to this, and they are sponsoring today's video. What's really, really cool about OVR is they have taken the entire world and sectioned it out into these little hexagons that you can get and build AR experiences on with your 3D assets that anybody else who have the OVR app can also enjoy directly on their phone and interact with. So those of you who are already pretty familiar with AR, there's probably 100 things you can think of to do here. OVR created this really cool video where they have this time traveling section of the video where they're going into this area that looks maybe like Egypt, something like that. And they created this entire crazy experience that, again, anybody with the OVR app can check out themselves. With the app, they can turn it on and check this out. One really cool thing that OVR has is the OVR treasure hunt. And you can go ahead, go check it out, and you can go around a city or an area and go find these 3D objects that are put around, and you can have a lot of fun with friends, whatever, using the OVR treasure hunt feature. It's really, really fun. It's a really, really cool idea, and there are hundreds of things you can do. You can make these experiences in your backyard, your parking lot, the front yard, anything you want. This is really great for conferences, adding another extra level of experience with different things like that. You can have so much fun in the digital space with OVR. Now, what's really cool about OVR is it actually lives on the Ethereum blockchain. But important distinction here, you don't need Ethereum to actually use a OVR. You can convert USD directly to OVR. Ethereum is more than just a cryptocurrency, and this is one of those examples where you can use the Ethereum blockchain to really use it to your own experience and make something really, really cool with it. So let's go into the OVR builder, which is what all us 3D artists are really going to want to be interested in here. And let's go ahead and make something. All right, so what I'm going to do here is just get in a new project, and you can use their OVR gallery or just start here from scratch. So this is the OVR builder, and it's pretty cool. Images, point lights, spotlights. You can have so much customizability here with your scenes and go crazy with it. You can go ahead and use your own assets. So here's a bunch of different test assets that I've played with here. You can go here to the OVR assets. So they have some mock-ups and different things like that. One really, really cool thing here is Sketchfab. They're partnering with OVR, and you have hundreds and thousands of totally free objects. 3D models. So if we go here and type in, I'll type in a car here, and you can load up all of these totally free car models, and you can just go ahead and drop it straight into your scene. So now he is fitting right here in my scene, and this is about the size of an OVR land. So you have this. Now we have just a car here. So if you're not really good at modeling, or you don't really want to take the time and you really want to just concept out a interesting AR experience, you can go ahead and use hundreds and thousands of models and really try something out here. Now, if you have any NFTs, you can also put your NFTs in here too. So if you have a big collection of NFTs, you want to make your own gallery that people can explore and look at in person, you can use OVR for that. My favorite thing here is Sketchfab, all that fun stuff. I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and we're going to import the model that we created. So we're going to go back here to My Assets, and we're going to import this object right here. All right, and just like that, we now have our object right here in our scene. And then you can, right over here, play with your controls here to scale it if you want to do that with numbers rather than eyeballing it. And then right here on loop animation, we're going to go ahead and get that icosphere animation so OVR recognizes it, and you'll be able to play it in your scene. Now, just like that, we're done. We'll go ahead and publish scene. I'm going to go ahead and just call this tutorial, and we're going to go ahead and save the project. And then I'm going to go ahead, you can save and publish now. And then I'm going to go pick one of my two pieces of land that I have. I'm going to click OK, and let's go ahead, get the OVR app, and try this out. All right, so we're here in the OVR app. You're going to be in the spot of the land you have experience found. You'll click OK, where it detects an experience, which is what we created in the builder. You'll pick a spot to collect that point. It's going to load, and there you go. It is in the spot you have placed it for your land. And there you go. You can explore your AR experience. What I did here was very simple. You can go crazy with this with any idea you want, but this is how the experience works. So there you go, guys. That is how you create your models, get them to work in augmented reality platforms. Thank you, OVR, for sponsoring the channel. It really helps us continue to keep doing what we're doing. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next tutorial.